Hello, everyone, and welcome back to our virtual Mishnah Berurah share. We are holding in Mishnah Berurah Chelik Gimel, and Mir Hashem today we will be learning Daf Vav Amid Beis. So we are continuing to learn Hilchos Shabbos. We are still in the midst of the sugya of Amira La'akum. We pick up today on the bottom line in the Shulchan Aruch on Vav Amid Aleph with the words of the Ramah, about 2/3 of the way through the bottom line. Haga. Our learning today should be a schus for Achenu Kol Beis Yisrael, Hanesinim Batzaru Ba'Shivya, Ha'imdim Bein Bayam Ubein Bayabasha, Hamakim Yerachem Aleihem V'Yitziam Yitzara L'Rvacha Me'afela La'ira U'Mishibud L'Geula Hashta Ba'Agola U'Vizman Kariv V'Noimar Amen. So, here in Siman Reish Mem Gimel, Siman Reish Mem Dalet, we have been learning the halachas of Amira La'akum, and to a lesser degree, we've been discussing Schar Shabbos. So, Amir La'akum 101, a Yid is not allowed to have an Eino Yehudi perform malacha for him on Shabbos. Therefore, a Yid is not allowed to hire a Schir Yom. He cannot go hire a per diem employee, an employee that he's paying for his time, to go do malacha for him on Shabbos. If a Yid has a hardware store, he's not allowed to have the hardware store open on Shabbos and pay an Eino Yehudi to go ahead and man the store for him and pay him for his time on Shabbos. This would be a Bir La'akum. On a high level, just the way I just discussed it, it would also be an Isser of Schar Shabbos. Having said that, we've seen that there is a way that an Eino Yehudi can be doing malacha for Yisrael on Shabbos, and it does not entail the Isser of Amir La'akum. So, here in Siman Reish Mem Dalet, we've been discussing the halacha of a kablan. And the case that I've been using over and over again, a very simple case to illustrate the heter of a kablan. You have a dining room table. The dining room table is broken. You want to hire a carpenter to repair your dining room table. So you hire a carpenter, you tell him, I'll pay you $250, take my dining room table, go repair it, bring it back to me when it's done. Now, in this case, the kablan is going to pick up the dining room table before Shabbos. He's going to perform the malacha, not in your house, not on your property. He's going to perform the malacha by him, in his shop, in his house, in his garage. You are not requiring him to work on Shabbos, you're not instructing him to work on Shabbos, and you're not gaining anything from him working on Shabbos. The deal that we have with him is, I'm outsourcing the repair of the dining room table to you. I'm paying you a $250 flat rate for the repair. He takes the table, he works according to his schedule, he's doing his work, he's doing carpentry. Me, I get the table back when it's finished. So, over here, we say, Nachri Adaita Denavshei Ka'avid. The Eino Yehudi is doing his work on his time. If he chooses to work on Shabbos, it's his business, it's for his benefit, and therefore it is no Amir La'akum over here. So that's the case of the heter of a kablan on a very high level. Having said that there's a heter, so to speak, of kablanus, where the kablan could be doing work on Shabbos, and you don't have to stop him, and you don't have to protest, and you don't have to object, and you don't have to worry about it. You let him pick up the dining room table, you say goodbye to the dining room table, and you don't think about it until it comes back. It's not negayed to me, whatever goes on. Having said that, we also learned that there is a time when even kablanus is aser. And that is, in the words of the Mechaber, if the malacha that the Eino Yehudi is doing is yedua umufarsemes, it's known and it's public knowledge that the avodah, the malacha that the Eino Yehudi is doing, is being done on behalf of Yisrael, then even this arrangement is aser. Why? Inherently it's mutter, it's not Amir La'akum, but it's aser mishum maris ayin. So, what do we call yedua umufarsemes? So one thing that the Mechaber told us was avodah b'mechuber. If you're going to have an Eino Yehudi go ahead and do work that's mechuber l'karka, you own a property, and you're going to have an Eino Yehudi do construction work on your property that you own on Shabbos, that's yedua umufarsemes, that the work that he's doing is being done for Yisrael. It's being done on Yisrael's property. Anything that's b'chubal karka, we say shem ba'olav olav. People know who it belongs to. So that's yedua umufarsemes, that the malacha is being done for a yid. Why is that aser? Marasayin. Yankel Shmerel is going to walk down the street. He's going to see the Eina Yehudi doing malacha on a yid's property. He's going to be chayshid that the yid hired an employee, a schir yoim, to go do the malacha, which would be aser from you because of Amir Lakum. So this is aser misham marasayin. Then we saw that this is not only restricted to mechubal karka, even if the malacha is being done on something that's not mechubal karka. So the example that the Mechaber gave was a sfina. If you have an Eina Yehudi doing repairs on a boat is not mechubal karka. But if it's a boat that's yedua umufarsemes, that this is a yid's boat, you're not allowed to have an Eina Yehudi to work bekablanus, even though again it's inherently mutter, it's kablanus. You're paying him for the job. You're allowing him to do it at his schedule. If he works on Shabbos, it's nachri adaita den avsheika of it. You're still not allowed to do it. Why? Because of marasayin. People know that it's a yid's boat, and they're going to say, look, Ruvain the yid hired an employee to do malacha for him on Shabbos, which is us. Okay, now, yesterday in Sivav, the Mechaber threw at us a very interesting case. We see that the hallmarks of the heter of kablanus are, first of all, in order to be mutter, it cannot be yedua umufarsemes that the malacha is being done for a yid. That's one. Two, generally, by the heter of kablanus, it's a case where in no way, shape, or form is the Yisrael requiring the Nachri to work on Shabbos. There's no connection between the Nachri working on Shabbos and the Yid. If the Nachri chooses to work on Shabbos, it's totally Nachri adaita den avsheika. He's doing it for his own purposes. Came along the Mechaber in Sivav, and the Mechaber introduced to us a very interesting case. What happened was, a yid bought the right to collect the toll on a bridge. Now, the bridge toll has to be collected every day of the week. It can't not be collected on Shabbos. The government requires, the yid bought the right to collect the toll from the government. The government requires that the toll be collected on Shabbos too. Now, the Yehudi owns the right to collect the toll. He can't collect the toll on Shabbos. So he wants to hire an Eina Yehudi to go collect the toll on Shabbos. Now, he can't hire a schir yom to do this. He can't tell Tony, I'm going to pay you for your time on Shabbos. I'm going to pay you $100 for the day. You collect the toll. I keep the revenue. That would be aser Amir La'akum 101. That's straight Amir La'akum. You're hiring Tony and make Mishliach to work for you on Shabbos. You're keeping the revach of Shabbos. That would mamish be aser. But what can you do? You can hire him b'kablanus. What's the kablanus? How do you pay him by the job? The way you pay him by the job is, you tell him, look, you go collect the toll. For every 100 dinarim, so for every $100 of toll that you collect, I'll pay you $10. So you're being paid by the job. The job is to collect $100 of tolls. You collect $100, I pay you $10. You collect another $100, I pay you another $10. So this is kablanus. Now, the problem that the Mishnah Berurah pointed out is this is not the same as the kablanus that we were matir by Tony picking up the dining room table and bringing it back next week. It's not the same thing. Why? For one thing, said the Mishnah Berurah, this is considered yedua umufarsemes. This is called known in public knowledge that the work is being done for a yid. Because what was typical was everybody knew who bought the rights to collect the bridge toll. So they know that Reuven collects the bridge toll on this bridge. When they see an Eina Yehudi collecting the bridge toll on Shabbos, they know that it's being done on behalf of Reuven. So l'chayra, this should be also mishum marasayin. Problem number one. Problem number two is that over here, there's no disconnect between the deal that the Yid made with the Eina Yehudi and the fact that the Eina Yehudi is working on Shabbos. When Reuven hired the Eina Yehudi to collect the bridge toll, it was understood that the bridge toll was being collected on Shabbos. So it wasn't verbalized, wasn't spoken out, says the Mishnah Berurah. You didn't make the deal, Tony, I'm hiring you as a kablan to collect the bridge toll on Shabbos, but you hired him to be the bridge toll collector. And as the bridge toll collector, it's very clear that he's going to collect the tolls on Shabbos. So the Mishnah Berurah is, how's the shaykh? How's this mutter? Why is this mutter? So the Mishnah Berurah explained that this is an oddball case. This is an aberration. Over here it's mutter because of pseida, hefsid meruba. Over here, since the yid stands to lose a tremendous amount of money, if he doesn't have an eitzah for how the bridge toll is going to be collected on Shabbos, over here we're matir, and we say even though it's yedua umufresemes, and it should be also b'shamar asayin, and even though when the yid strikes the deal with the kablan ein Yehudi, it's understood that the ein Yehudi is going to work on Shabbos, which generally we're not matir. Over here we're matir it, hefsid meruba. What does that mean, hefsid meruba? Mishnah Berurah gave us two pshatim. Either straight hefsid meruba, we're matir it because otherwise the yid's going to take a hefty loss, or the fear is that because the yid knows that he's going to take a hefty financial beating if he doesn't figure out a way to do this, if we don't allow him to do it beheter, he's going to do it mamish be'isser. He's going to go man the toll booth himself, he's going to write the bills, he's going to write the receipts, he's going to be over on ksiva daraisa chas v'chalila. So we gave him an out. We were matir him to hire a kablan, which is inherently mutter, and we're not going to worry about marasayan, and we're also not going to worry about the fact that it's understood that the Nachri is working on Shabbos. That's a basic recap of what we're up to now. Now the Ramah is going to give us another eitzah for how this fellow could deal with the bridge toll collection on Shabbos. Says the Ramah, Hago. V'chein, there's another out. There's another way you can handle this problem. V'chein, yucha lahaskir hameches l'chol haShabbosos le'eino Yehudi. Another way Reuven could handle this is, Reuven could go over to Tony and he could say, look, I bought the rights from the government to collect the tolls on this bridge. I got a problem. I can't collect the tolls on Shabbos. I can't do it. So you know what I'm going to do? I don't want the geschäft on Shabbos. I don't want the Shabbos business. I want the business the other 6 days of the week. Shabbos, I don't want the business. But I bought the whole thing from the government. So what am I going to do? I'm going to rent out to you Shabbos. You pay me a flat sum for collecting the bridge toll on Shabbos. And continues the Ramah, V'ha'ena Yehudi yikach harevach shel Shabbosos la'atzmai. Now what's going to happen is, Tony is going to pay Reuven a set amount of money, X amount. He's going to pay him $5,000, I don't know what. He's going to rent from him the right, the same way Reuven bought the right from the government to collect the tolls. Now Tony is renting or buying from Reuven the rights to collect the bridge tolls on Shabbos. So basically what Reuven is doing is he's walking away from collecting the bridge toll on Shabbos. He's selling it to an Eina Yehudi, or he's renting it, in the words of the Ramah, Hiskirloi, he's renting it to the Eina Yehudi. You collect the tolls on Shabbos, and you keep all the money. You're just paying me a flat rate. And says the Ramah, V'loi chayshinon sheyomru l'tzarech Yisrael hu oiseh. So the Ramah says, Beferish, if you do this, we're not going to worry about Marasayin. We're not going to worry about the fact that it's Yedua Umufresemes Lakoil, that this bridge toll collection business belongs to Reuven, and now an Eina Yehudi is doing it, and people are going to say that he hired a Schir Yom. Says the Ramah, no, V'loi chayshinon sheyomru l'tzarech Yisrael hu oiseh. Why? Because like we said in the Mishnah Berurah yesterday, the bimkaim pseida, because in a case of hefty financial loss, kahai gavna, like this, loy choshishu, we don't worry about the maris ayin aspect. And we're also not worrying about the fact that it's understood that he's doing work on Shabbos. Now there's another shaila that we have to deal with over here, and that is the shaila of schar Shabbos. We'll deal with that in the Mishnah Berurah. But let's go further in the Ramah first, because the Ramah is going to give us another case. V'Yisrael hamamuna al matbeah shel melech. Another interesting case. A yid bought from the government the business of minting the coins. Now, apparently, the coins had to be minted constantly. You couldn't take a day off from minting the coins. So coins had to be minted on Shabbos too. Maybe, like the United States, they print money constantly to just pour more money into the system. And they can't take a day off because they spend like drunken sailors. So they can't take a day off. So they had to mint the coins on Shabbos too. So, says the Ramah, V'Yisrael ha'mamuna al matbeah shel melech, he bought the rights to mint the coins, but the coins have to be minted on Shabbos. Dinoi kedin ha'mamuna al hameches. The Ramah says it's the same halacha as the bridge toll collection. What does that mean? It means that he could go ahead and get a kablan Eina Yehudi to go mint the coins on Shabbos, and you'll pay him, like using the Shulchan Aruch's, the Mechaber's Eitzah, you'll pay him a flat rate. You'll tell him for every 100 coins that you mint, you'll make so and so much money. So you're paying him by the job. A job is minting 100 coins. So I'll pay you, I don't know, $10 for every 100 coins that you mint. Or you could use the Ramaz Eitzah. The Ramaz Eitzah is you'll rent out to the Ein Yehudi the business of minting coins on Shabbos. Minting coins at Shabbos belongs to Tony, and Tony keeps whatever revenue comes in from the government for minting coins at Shabbos. That belongs to Tony. You could use these same aces. And why is this a chiddush? If it's the same din as the toll collecting, so why is this a chiddush? Says the Ramah, even though the machinery is going to be running on Shabbos, it's avshamilsa, it's the machines are going bang, 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 minting the coins, and everybody knows that's Reuven's coin minting shop. So l'chayr it's yedua for semes that malacha is being done for the yid ba'kas hamatpeah. It's still mutter. Why is it mutter? For the same reason. Because since this is a hefsid merubah and there's no way out, we're being mater him to hire a kablan. Vayin l'kablan siman reishdun beis. Okay, we'll pause here for a minute, and now let's take a look at the Mishnah Berurah. Says the Mishnah Berurah is Katan Lamed Daled. V'ha'enoi Yehudi yikach. So again, what was the Ramaz Eitzah for how Reuven the Yid should handle the Shabbos bridge toll collecting? He had a different Eitzah than the Mechaber. The Mechaber, his Eitzah was hire a kablan. The Ramaz Eitzah is different than hiring a kablan. The Ramaz Eitzah is divest yourself of the Shabbos bridge toll collecting business. Go ahead and rent it out to an Ein Yehudi. Tell an Ein Yehudi, you pay me a flat rate, you collect all the Shabbos tolls, I have nothing to do with it. So now, Nachri Adaita Denavshei Kovid. Tony owns the bridge toll collecting business on Shabbos. He's working on Shabbos. He's making money for himself. He's not doing my work, and he's not working for me. I'm divested from it. So says the Mishnah Berurah here, nice cut lamadal. This is another good eitzah that's mutar me ikar adin, the same way the Mechaber's eitzah is. The Ein Yehudi kiavid adaita denavshei avid, because this is mamish nachri adaita denavshei avid. So it's mutar me ikar adin. Marasayan. It's Yeduamu for Semes Lakoil that this is Reuven's bridge toll collecting business. That's okay. Why? Because like the Ramah said, and like we learned yesterday in the Mishnah Berurah, Hefsid Merubah, we're not going to worry about the Marasai. Now, the Mishnah Berurah is going to bring up the Shaila of Schar Shabbos. Now, what's the Shaila of Schar Shabbos? So very, very easy. We have already mentioned several times, a Yid is not allowed to make money on Shabbos. What does that mean? So, for example, a teenage girl is not allowed to be paid for babysitting on Shabbos. Even though babysitting doesn't entail doing any malacha, she could babysit without performing any maleches iser on Shabbos, but she's not allowed to get paid for her time on Shabbos. So that's the iser of Schar Shabbos. Similarly, you're not allowed to rent out an apartment for Shabbos. When I say for Shabbos, I mean only for Shabbos. If it would be only for the exact minutes of Shabbos, your apartment is not allowed to generate money for you on Shabbos. Your hardware store is not allowed to be opened on Shabbos, even if you go nowhere near it, if it's producing revenue for you on Shabbos. So besides the Amir La'akum, if you hired an employee to go manage your hardware store on Shabbos, that's one shaila, Amir La'akum, on the store manager. But then there's another shaila. Your hardware store, your business, your property, is generating income for you on Shabbos. That's an Isser of Schar Shabbos. Now, the Mishnah Berurah's problem over here that he's bringing up is, how about the bridge toll collector in the context of the Ramaz Eitzah? Reuven owns the right to collect all the bridge tolls all week long. He wants to get out of it on Shabbos. The way he's getting out of it is, in the words of the Ramah, he's renting to the Ein Yehudi. The Ein Yehudi has the right to go collect the bridge tolls on Shabbos. And what's Reuven getting? Tony's paying Reuven a flat rate. So Ruvain is getting paid, I'm just making up numbers, Ruvain is getting paid $5,000 from Tony so that Tony could collect the bridge tolls on Shabbos. So is that a problem of Schar Shabbos? Do we look at it and say that Ruvain's Geschäft, Ruvain's business of bridge toll collecting is generating revenue for him on Shabbos because he's getting $5,000 for the Shabbosos. Now over here, there's no heter of Havlah. If it would be pshat that he's renting out to Tony the bridge toll collecting for the whole year, so then he's getting paid not only for Shabbos, he's getting paid for Shabbos, for Sunday, for Monday, for Tuesday also. So then you would have the heter of Havlah. But over here, there's no heter of Havlah. Tony is paying him only and distinctly for the Shabbosos. So he's paying him $5,000 to be able to collect the revenue on Shabbos. So doesn't that mean that Ruvain's business is generating $5,000 of income for him on Shabbos? Schar Shabbos? Says the Mishnah Berurah, no. He brings down the Magen Avram. Because of a Magen Avram, the Magen Avram writes, "The gam mishum Schar Shabbos les bazeh." There's no iser of Schar Shabbos here. Af shehu maskira l'Shabbos l'chud. Even though Tony is only paying Ruvain for Shabbosos, so there's no heter of Havlah, it's still not Schar Shabbos. Why? Because of a very interesting svara. Mishum daharehu ki'ilu kada mimenu hameches. Over here, we don't look at it. That pshat is, Ruvain is allowing Tony to rent the bridge toll business, and he's paying Ruvain for rental of the bridge toll business, and Ruvain is making money on Shabbos. He's getting paid for the Shabbos time of the bridge toll collecting business. It's not the way we look at it. Instead, the way we look at it is, you know what Ruvain sold Tony? Ruvain sold Tony Shabbos' revenue. The bridge toll is going to bring in a certain amount of money on Shabbos. Ruvain is selling that money to Tony before Shabbos. Not on Shabbos. He's not selling it to him on Shabbos. Chutz mi Shabbos. During a weekday, on a Tuesday afternoon, he's going to Tony and he's striking a deal with Tony, and he's telling Tony, I will sell you all of Shabbos' bridge revenue for the entire year for $5,000. All of that revenue now belongs to you. It's not pshat that you're using my business on Shabbos and you're paying me for the use of my business on Shabbos so that my business is generating revenue for me on Shabbos, the payment that Tony is giving the Yehudi. No. The way it works is Ruvain is selling Tony a commodity. He's selling Tony Shabbos' revenue. Shabbos' revenue belongs to you. And he's making that sale outside of Shabbos. He's not making that sale on Shabbos. Now when Shabbos comes along, Ruvain is totally divested from that business. So Shabbos afternoon, when Ruvain is eating his cholent, it's not pshat that while Ruvain is eating his cholent, his toll booth is generating income for him because Tony is paying him for that Shabbos time. No. I sold all of Shabbos' revenue for the entire year to Tony. And I made that sale outside of Shabbos. I didn't make that sale on Shabbos. And the Mishnah Berurah compares this to another case where maybe it's a little easier to chop the nuance over here. Says the Mishnah Berurah in the brackets. You know what this is like? V'havalei ki'ilu yedea sheyaviu loi enam Yehudim schoira b'Shabbos. Let's say Ruvain owns a hardware store. And Ruvain put in an order for drills. He's getting 100 Milwaukee drills delivered. He happens to know that the delivery is coming on Shabbos. Now he has a goyish customer who wants 100 Milwaukee drills. So he comes to him and he says, you know what, I need 100 Milwaukee drills. Ruvain checks his inventory. I don't have 100 Milwaukee drills. Oh, but you know what? There's 100 Milwaukee drills that I have on order. When is it coming? Oh, look at that. That's weird. It happens to be coming on Shabbos. I can't even take delivery of it on Shabbos. I'm closed on Shabbos. I can't take delivery of it on Shabbos. You know what? I'm selling you those 100 Milwaukee drills right now on Tuesday afternoon. Give me $500. I don't know. It's 100 drills. 100 drills, $50, $5,000. Give me $5,000, and the 100 Milwaukee drills are yours. I'm selling them to you right now. And a matter of fact, I think there's a Shartzion over here. It's Ice Cotton Lamed Vav. No, it's later on. Imam sells it to him. He sells him the 100 Milwaukee drills right now. And he says, you know what? I see that they're coming on Saturday. They're yours. You take delivery of them on Shabbos. Go to the parking lot. And when the drills come, you take delivery of them. So says the Mishnah Berurah, he knows that Goyim are bringing him a delivery on Shabbos. So he sells it to an Eina Yehudi on Erev Shabbos. That the Eina Yehudi will take delivery of the 100 drills on Shabbos. The Pshita Deshari. Mishnah Berurah says it's obvious that that's mutter. You're going to call that Schar Shabbos? That's not Schar Shabbos. I didn't do business on Shabbos. My hardware store didn't do business on Shabbos. I struck a deal on Erev Shabbos. The schor is coming on Shabbos. It already belongs to the guy. The guy is going to take delivery of it. So too by the toll booth. By the toll booth, Ruvain is selling to Tony. All of the bridge revenue for Shabbos for the entire year now belongs to you. I sold you all that revenue. That revenue is going to be delivered on Shabbos. When it's delivered, you take delivery of it. You're going to be sitting in the toll booth. You're going to take delivery. It's not Schar Shabbos. The Chain, similarly, says the Mishnah Berurah, he applies the same logic to the Ramah's second case. The Chain gabi matbeya, so too by the coin minting business. Marcheloi hormono ba'alma. When Reuven goes ahead and sells to Tony the right to mint the coins on Shabbos, it's not Schar Shabbos. It's not pshat that Reuven's coin minting factory is running on Shabbos and generating revenue for Reuven on Shabbos in the way of what Tony is paying Reuven for the Shabbos usage. No, that's not what it is. What it is Reuven is selling Tony. Reuven owns the hormona. The hormona is the rishus, the authority. He owns the contract. He owns the authority to do the coin minting business. But I don't want it on Shabbos. Reuven doesn't want that business on Shabbos. So he sells it to Reuven. He sells Reuven, you have the hormona. You have the authority now to mint the coins on Shabbos. Now, when coins are being minted on Shabbos, it's not Reuven's geschäft. It's Tony's geschäft that's minting the coins on Shabbos. He sold it to Reuven for $5,000 for the year, for all the Shabbosos of the year. All of the revenue that comes from minting the coins on Shabbos is going to go to Tony, not to Reuven. So Reuven has divested himself from the coin minting business on Shabbos. So the only isser that's left, we've done away with Amir La'akum. Because either it's Kablanos or it has nothing to do with me. So we've done away with Amir La'akum. We've done away with Schar Shabbos, because this is not Schar Shabbos. This is not my business, my property generating revenue for me on Shabbos. The only Isser that's left would be the Isser of Marasayin. What would the Marasayin be? Sheyoimru shu oisel etzarech Yisrael. When Yankel Shmerel walks past the coin minting factory and he hears the machines churning out coins and he sees Tony operating the machines, he's going to think that Tony is a Schir Yoim, a per diem employee, who's mamish a shliach, who's mamish working for Reuven. That's the only problem that's left. Sheyoimru shu oisel etzarech Yisrael. Yisrael scharoi lichtov b'Shabbos, to write the toll receipts on Shabbos, ulekabel ameches, to collect the tolls on Shabbos, or in the case of the coin minting business, to mint the coins. So l'chayr it's yadua umu for semes. L'chayr it should be also b'shem marasayin. V'zeu shekasav haramah v'loy chayshina d'bimkom seda. And that's why the Ramah says this is mutter, because hefsid merubah, we don't apply the isser of marasayin in the case of hefsid merubah. V'loy hisker klal mischar Shabbos. And the Ramah chose not to get into the discussion of Schar Shabbos. You want to see why? Ayin bibir halacha dibur hamaschil dibimekayim. Ois cotton lamin hey. The Ramah said loy choshishu. In these cases, we're not choshish for the maras ayin aspect of the isser. Says the Mishnah Berurah. Da, you should know. It's a very important Mishnah Berurah. The mashma mikala paiskim, it's mashma very clearly from all the paiskim. The loy hitiru, that the chazal, the paiskim, were not matter. Afilu bimkaim hefsid gadol, even where there is a hefsid merubah, right? We're having a whole heter here for hefsid merubah. Usually, yadur umaforsemes marzayin. Usually, if there's a connection between the fact that the Nachri is working on Shabbos and the Yisrael, even though it's not being verbalized, the Yisrael is not instructing the Ein Yehudi to work on Shabbos, but wink, wink, we know he's going to collect the tolls on Shabbos. Usually, that's also. But over here, Hefsid Gadol, we have a Terim. But says the Mishnah Berurah, the lo yitiru afilu b'mkayim Hefsid Gadol, ela ba'ofen zeh shetzir HaShulchan Aruch. The only heter that we have in a case of Hefsid Merubah is either to do what the Shulchan Aruch said, to hire a kablan. Yes, you could hire bikablanus, you could hire the toll collector. You pay him by the job. For every $100 that you collect the tolls, I'll pay you $10. Nachri adaita den avshei it's Yiduim for Semes, we're not going to worry about Marasayin. We know he's working on Shabbos, we're not going to worry about that either. Tahainu oy b'kibaylis, or the Ramaz Eitzah. Oy shemaskelo is guf harevach. Or using the Ramaz Eitzah where you divest yourself of the business because by the toll collecting, you're selling to the Ein Yehudi all of the Shabbos' revenue. By the coin stamping, you're selling to the Ein Yehudi the right to stamp coins on Shabbos, so you're divesting yourself of the Geschäft. We're willing to make this heter in an oifen of Hefsid Merubah because the bottom line is that inherently there's no Isser of Amir Lakum. Inherently, this is Kablanus. Inherently, the business is no longer yours. You're not getting paid for the time. There's no Schar Shabbos. You sold the commodity to the Ein Yehudi. Aval b'schir yoim mamish aser b'chol gavni. But would we be matir to go hire a per diem employee because of Hesed Merubah? Amir Lakum 101? No. Umizeh teda, and from this we should know. Sha'oisan ha'anoshim ha'machzikim beis mashke. Yidden who own some kind of a bar or a tavern. Shaloichin me'erev Shabbos ezay ein Yehudi bebesan. So what they do is they hire a non-Jewish employee and they bring them into their house meaning into the bar or into the tavern. Al Yom HaShabbos lasik b'mechiras hamashke, to run the business on Shabbos. Shaloi kedin emoisim. This is mamish also apidin. There's no heter because of Hesed Merubah to mamish hire a skir yoim. That's mamish aser. That's inherently aser. So you're lakum. Da'afim nachshav minias harevach Yom HaShabbos lehefsed gadol. Because even if we're going to call this Hefsid Merubah, because we're going to say that Menias HaRevach means when you stand to lose potential income. That's not the same as losing money, right? Potential income, it's kinetic energy. But potential income means the fact that theoretically I might make $10,000 on Shabbos, and now I'm not going to make it, that's Menias HaRevach. Even if we're going to call that a Hefsid Gadol, so what it's a Hefsid Merubah? We would never matter to hire a skir yom with Hefsid Merubah. V'gam de'ulai hu rak b'chlam Menias HaRevach. And maybe Menias HaRevach is not even called Hefsid Merubah. Hefsid Merubah means I have money and I'm losing it. Not that I'm losing the ability to make money in the future. And even if there was a heter, we would only be allowed to be mater what the Shulchan Aruch was mater by the toll collector. To go hire a kablan, Ein Yehudi to do it. For Haramah, or the heter of the Ramah, where you sell all the revenue. So yeah, theoretically, by the bar, you could do that. You could hire a kablan. You could tell a kablan, listen, I'm going to hire you to run the bar on Shabbos, but the deal is a kablanus deal. What does that mean? For every $1,000 of revenue that you bring in on Shabbos, I'll pay you $10. So I'm not hiring you as a schir yom. I'm not paying you for your time to work on Shabbos. I'm hiring you as a kablan, the haramah, or the Ramaz Eitzah. Pay me for a flat rate. You tell Tony, you could have the bar on Shabbos, pay me a flat rate for all of Shabbos' revenue. That's the only thing we would be willing to be matir, if we're even going to consider it a Hefsid Merubah. But we wouldn't be matir to mamish hire Tony, pay him $500 for the day to manage the bar. That would be also B'Shem Amir Lakum 101. Or another potential way to be matter this would be you'll sell all the booze to Tony for Shabbos. All of the liquor, all of the scotch, all of the bourbon, it all belongs to you. We make Shtar Mechira. The Sharatzion says you have to make Mamish Bishicha. Also, you make Kinyonim, and you sell him all of the inventory of the bar. So now whatever he sells at Shabbos, he's selling his own stuff. He's not selling your stuff. Even though you still have the Marsain problem, everybody knows that it's Ruvain's bar. That you would be able to be matir because it has to be Merubah. So yeah, there is a way out. The Yid owns the bar on Shabbos. If we're going to call it a Hefsid Berubah, the Mishnah Berurah has it sad that we don't call it a Hefsid Berubah, it's only Menias HaRevach, but if we're going to call it a Hefsid Berubah, so yeah, you could be Mater Kablanus, you could be Mater Dramaz Eitzah, sell him all of Shabbos' revenue, you could use another Eitzah, you could sell him all the stops, so that whatever he's selling belongs to him, but you can't be Mater to hire an employee. Well, and according to what we're going to see very shortly in the name of the Taz, it would be mutter if you did kablanus, or one of these other eitzes that are mutter, the Yid would be able to sit nearby and watch, just to watch that the bartender that you're bringing in isn't stealing your single malt schnapps. Actually, but this is very difficult because you have to be very careful that you don't get involved in the business. And you don't get into a business conversation with the bartender kablan that you have over there. And this is very hard to be careful not to do this. Not to say a word about your business when Tony is running your business on Shabbos. But Chavetz says, what can I do? The Welt is noig heter on this. And he says, leave them alone. You know why? They're not going to listen to you if you protest. If you tell them that it's also what they're doing, unfortunately, they're not going to listen. And it's better that they should do it with something that's called a shaygig, not that they're doing it b'mezid. And now, a very important line. Somebody who has true betachin in the Rabbeinu Shalom, al Shabbos, and he doesn't search out kulas on Shabbos to be able to be involved in his business on Shabbos and all of these eitzes over here. Ashrov, he's fortunate. The Rabbeinu Shalom has plenty of ways to make sure you have your parnasa. He doesn't need you trying to pick out all sorts of kulas to be able to protect your money on Shabbos. The Rabbeinu Shalom will do a fine job, be makbid on Shabbos. Okay. Weiter, the Ramah said that the coin stamping business is the same as the bridge toll collecting business. Therefore, mutter litan a kesef lein a Yehudi. If Ruvain the Yisrael has this coin stamping business and they're stamping silver coins, he could give silver to the Ein Yehudi. He's hiring a kablan, an Ein Yehudi, and he's paying him per the job. For every 100 coins that you stamp, I'll pay you $10. Or he's renting out the whole geschäft to him for Shabbos. You keep all the Shabbos revenue, but the Tony doesn't have silver. He doesn't have the raw materials. The Yid is the raw materials. The Yid could give the guy all of the raw materials before Shabbos. If you make 100 coins, I'll give you $10. Or the Ramaz Eitzah, Sheyaskala Yisrael Revach, Sheyali Mizeh B'Shabbos Leini Yehudi, the Chanal Mishum Seder. Or the Ramaz Eitzah, he could tell the Eini Yehudi, listen, for Shabbos the government is going to pay $2,000 for Shabbos. Whatever revenue comes in from the government for Shabbos, it's all yours. You pay me a flat rate. Again, either the Shulchan Aruch Eitzah or the Ramaz Eitzah. Okay, let's finish off the Siman over here. Says the Ramah, second line from the bottom at the end of the line. In all of these cases, the Yizar Shalom Yeshav HaYisrael Eitz Aleinu Yehudi B'Shabbos Kisha Oisik B'Malachta B'Matbeya Oy B'Kabbalas HaMeches. The Mishnah Berurah already alluded to this, and that is, if you are using one of these eitzes for the bridge toll collecting, or for the coin stamping, or for the bar, anytime you're using one of these eitzes, where somehow an Eina Yehudi is going to be working in what is essentially your geschäft on Shabbos. So either you own the toll collecting and you hired a kablan to do it, and you're paying him by the job. For every 100 dinarim that he collects, he gets 10 dinar. Or you're using the Ramaz Eitzah, you're renting out for Shabbos, you're giving him the Shabbos, the business for Shabbos, and he's paying you a flat rate. Whatever Eitzah you choose to use, says the Ramah, don't sit there when he's doing the malacha. Don't be nearby. Get out of the business. You divested yourself of the business. It's not your business. Get away from there on Shabbos. Says the Mishnah Berurah Kat Lamed Zayin Shel Yeshav Yisrael. Either the Yisrael himself, or Shehisker Loi, or if he wants to, if he hired another, he wants to hire another Yisrael to be a watchman, or Shluchai or Shliach. Nobody that's connected to him should be sitting by the business. Because of a Taz, however, the Taz writes, the Masha also Leishiv Sham, when the Ramah says that you can't be nearby when the business is operating, that's to be involved in the business. In other words, you have the kablan collecting the tolls. You want to stand nearby and you want to see, listen, is he doing the job right? Is he taking bribes from anybody? You want to be by the bar and you want to say, is he doing a good job? Is he, he's not giving anybody, 18-year-old McKellen when he's supposed to be giving them Dewar's Black Label. You want to watch what's going on. Or you know that the guy is going to have to give you a cheshbon tomorrow. You want to make sure the cheshbon is accurate. That would be awesome because essentially you're involved in your business on Shabbos. And like I said yesterday, ain't going to work on Saturday. A yid's not allowed to do work on Shabbos. So get out of the business. Don't be involved in the business on Shabbos. But how about if Ruvain hired Tony to be the toll collector, bekablonos, etc., on Shabbos, but he's worried that Tony might be taking from the till? How does he know that Tony's not pocketing the money? And then the government's going to come after him and he's going to get in trouble. So he just wants to watch that Tony's not stealing. Says the Taz, mutter. He says that's mutter. Chavetz says, based on this, we can understand why people who run the mills, they bought the right to operate a mill on behalf of the government. There were noyig lahoishiv sham Yisrael afilu b'Shabbos. So Ruvain bought the right to run the mill and charge for the milling, and the milling is done all week. So these Yidden, they would get any Yehudi Kablan, let's say, to run the mill on Shabbos, but then they would hire a Yehudi, a Yisrael, to sit by the mill and watch what's going on. Says the Chavetz Chaim, based on this Taz, we could understand it. Because the only reason they're there is to make sure that the any Yehudi is not stealing. They're not there to be involved in the business. They're not there to run the business. They're not there to report back and say he's running the business well, he's grinding the flour too fine, he's not grinding it fine enough, he did this right, he did that wrong. That's not what they're there for. They're just simply there as a watchman to make sure that nobody is stealing. But even this watchman has to make sure not to get involved in the business. Ad kan l'shaynoi, v'chein kasvu shari achrayim, and so concludes the fascinating Siman Reish Mem Daled. Thank you so much for joining me for Liman HaTorah. The source of Liman HaTorah should be Megan against Klal Yisrael. The Rebbeinu Shalom should send Yeshua's for us Parnaset Sheduchim to all those in need, and we should be zoichet to see the Bias Goyel Tzedek B'mehera v'yameinu Amen. Be well.